And then one other thing, I'll send the slides out afterwards, but everything that we talk about tonight is pretty much on this website that you see here, www.umb.edu/grad resources. And that will have links to the offices that have joined us. And again, we are really here to help. So even if you forget everything that you hear tonight, remembering the faces and the names and the offices of places that can help you if you need something. The final thing I'll say is this is all great kind of central resource stuff. A lot of resources are available, including some orientations, as you may already know, at your program level. So checking in with your graduate program director and your graduate program staff is always a great first step if you have a question or you're not quite sure of what to do. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Sarah Bartlett, our Associate Registrar, to talk a little bit about getting settled.
Thanks, Justin. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see your names anyway, and I look forward to actually seeing your faces someday. So welcome to UMass Boston, or welcome back if you have been here with us before as an undergraduate student. Either way, it's great to have you. As I am one of the associate registrars, and let me start off by talking a little bit about sort of what our office does, and then I want to talk a little bit about some of the specifics that are important things for graduate students to know. So Justin, if you could go to the next slide, that would be great. So the registrar's office, we're the folks who kind of, we don't make the policies, but we hold on to the policies and we make sure that policies get followed. We're the folks that will help you get across the finish line when it's time for graduation. We'll help review your record and get you to that endpoint. We keep the academic calendar. We oversee the registration processes and scheduling of courses and setting courses up so that they're available to you. When you need a transcript, you can go through our website to get that. You can also get unofficial transcripts at any time. And if you go to our website, which is just registrar@umb.edu, you'll find that there are lots of forms that we're going to come in handy for you over the course of your studies with us. As Justin said, none of us is expecting you to remember all this stuff that you're hearing tonight, but we just want to point out that the different resources that are available. So yeah, go ahead to that next slide, Justin, thanks. So one thing that's important for you all to get familiar with is Wiser. Wiser is our student administration system. It's where you do your registration. It's where you view your schedule. It's where you can see whether you have any holds or alerts on your account, things that you need to take care of. So if you haven't done so already, I strongly encourage folks to get your Wiser account up and going, because a lot of the information that you're going to need as a student, you can find there. And I know some of my colleagues who will be speaking to you after I finish are also going to point out the different things that you can find on the website. Let me point out a few that are most important from a registrar's perspective. One is that your schedule is there. You'll see the icon for your schedule. So once you've registered for classes, that's where you can verify where those classes are, when they're happening, and how they're happening, whether they're online, remote, in person, off campus, whatever. Underneath that is a very important thing, which is the holds. There are holds that go onto a lot of student records in general each semester, whether that's about immunization requirements, past due balances that my colleague Shirley will speak to you about in a bit. But before you get into a bad situation, it's really good to check to see whether you have any holds on your account that may be affecting your ability to register or to progress in a certain way. So do make it a point to check out your holds each term, in fact, several times a term. You'll also see that this is a place where when a semester is over and grades have been posted, you can view your grades there. And you can see over on the right-hand side, there's an icon for what's called enrollment dates. Every student is assigned an enrollment appointment, and it's for graduate students, it's based on the number of credits that you've earned. So the closer you are to the finish line, you get first shot at registering so that you can get the classes you need most readily. And then students are assigned dates. For graduate students, there are only 3 different dates, so it all happens pretty quickly. But again, my main message to you in looking at this page is do make sure that you can get logged in there. Do check out what's on there, and and don't ignore it until it's time to graduate. It's something that we really try and encourage students to regularly check your Wiser, just like you check your email or you check your text, is go in and make sure things are looking good on your Wiser page. Justin, you want to go to the next slide? So I've already mentioned that students all receive appointment dates. You are all eligible for registration right now for spring semester, whether you've registered or not. I assume that you will be doing that shortly if you haven't done it yet. Registration for summer will begin in March, and registration for fall, if you can believe it, will begin in early April. So be aware of that and know that that's coming before you know it. I've talked some about the holds. Again, you want to just make sure some things are holds and some things are alerts. So for instance, I'm sure others will talk more about this in the evening, but many of you may have a CVD indicator on your record right now. That's an indicator, and that's telling us that we don't yet have your COVID documentation. So that's something everybody should check for right now. And if you think that you've submitted your COVID documentation, follow up on that so we can get that indicator off you. And if you haven't, please do so before classes start so that you don't run into trouble down the road, particularly if you're taking face-to-face classes. Graduate students have some requirements that apply only to them. And one of those is that students are required at the graduate level to maintain what's called continuing status. And that means that even if you encounter a semester where you're not taking classes, for instance, you're working on your master's thesis, you're down to doing the research for your dissertation, and you don't need to register for any credit classes, you are required to maintain continuous status by registering for something that's called the program fee. And each program has a section of the program fee that's assigned to them. And if you're not going to register for courses in order to maintain good standing, you will work with your program to identify which section of the course called CAS 600 you register for. And there is a charge for it. It's $225. But it is important for you to make sure you're doing that in terms when you're not taking actual 4 credit courses. The kicker is that if you don't do it, you basically become discontinued, then you have to readmit, and then we're going to charge you for it anyway. So you're better off just making sure that you do that as you go along. Another requirement that applies specifically to graduate students is the minimum GPA requirement. So if you've been an undergraduate, you probably know that undergraduate students at UMass Boston, must maintain a 2.0, but for graduate students, it's a bit of a higher standard. So you are required to maintain a 3.0 GPA, which is a B average in all your coursework. There also know that the minimum passing grade for a graduate level course is a C-. There are no Ds or D pluses or D minuses in the graduate grading scheme. So again, this is something to just be monitoring as you go through. I have every confidence that you will all be sailing through with 3.0s or higher, but that is the standard that you need to maintain as a graduate student. I think next slide, thanks. Graduate programs also have what are called statutes of limitations. A lot of times when you look it up online, you will see that they refer to them as the statute of limitations, but it's the statute of limitations. Programs, when they are created, define the number of years that they think it should take you to complete your degree. For a master's program, that often it's 4 or 5 years at the max. For a doctoral program, it's going to be more like 7 or 8 years. So you want to pay attention to what that statute of limitations is for the program that you're in. Should you find yourself, and people do because we have lives and they're complicated, should you find yourself bumping up against that statute of limitations, then you can work with your graduate program director and your advisor to file for an extension on that if you need it. But part of the academic requirement is that you do need to stay within that statute of limitations. So talk with your GPD, talk with your advisor, make sure you understand what the statute of limitations is for your program. And just if you find that it's going to take you an extra amount of time, raise that as an issue. Once you've hit that, whether you hit the statute of limitations or not, the day will come when you are getting ready to graduate. And so the semester before you are thinking that you will actually be crossing that line and picking up that degree, you will need to apply for graduation. And there are lots of instructions on our website about how to do that. And we have a great graduation team who will work with you and with your advisor to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, that all the requirements are in, and that if there are any substitutions or things that need to be made, we do that in plenty of time so that you can graduate in a timely way. As a student or as a graduate, if you ever need an official transcript, those can be ordered through our website. Again, we actually now use the National Student Clearinghouse for the production of most transcripts. And you can order as many paper copies as you want, free of charge through the clearinghouse. And you can also order same-day electronic transcripts. There is a slight charge for those. You will be able to always view and print out an unofficial transcript through Wiser. And on the registrar's website and on the student, if you go to the Wiser page and help for students, there are a ton of instructional videos as well as kind of job aids to walk you through all these different processes. So I would encourage you to spend a little time checking that out as well. If you need an enrollment verification, if you need to tell an insurance company or a housing office or a school or anybody that you are in fact enrolled in and what % time you were attending school, once the semester begins, you may obtain an enrollment verification again through that National Student Clearinghouse site. Sometimes people have more complicated requests, that there are additional forms that need to be filled out, et cetera. And those can certainly come through the registrar's office. The one thing to know is for the National Student Clearinghouse, we report on your enrollment several times during the semester, but until the semester is officially underway, they can't verify until the add drop period is over. They won't verify whether you're full-time enrolled, part-time enrolled, et cetera. Next slide, please, Justin. So I think we're about to move on to Shirley, who is one of my BFFs on the campus, but let me just say a couple of sort of words of advice overall. So there is almost no issue that we can't help you figure out if we catch it early and in a timely way. There's almost no hold that we can't work with you to get resolved if we find out in a timely way. So what I would say is, you're going to be delving into your studies and that's what you're here for and that's exciting, but there is a business side to being a student. So don't ignore that. Don't do what I do is when you think it's bad news, stick it in a drawer and try and put it off for a few more weeks. If something comes up, reach out to us and reach out to the people who we're going to be talking to tonight and to the offices that we're talking about, because our job is really to work with you to resolve those issues. And the more we know about it early, the better we can be in helping you resolve it. So I wish you great luck and hope you have a great semester. I'm going to unfortunately say that I'm kind of straddling commitments here. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. And so please feel free if you have questions that I haven't answered or you think of something later to just reach out to me directly at my email. And without further ado, I think I'm passing it on to Shirley Condon.
Thank you, Sarah. So as Sarah said, we do work. I'm in the Bursar office, she's in the Registrar office, and the two of us work very closely together. So we've gotten to be good friends as, colleagues, but also good friends. She's amazing. So if you need anything, email her. She's probably gonna hate me for saying that. But anyway, so once again, my name is Shirley Condon. I am the Associate Bursar at UMass Boston. And we are the billing office. I'm sure you guys know that from your undergrad experience. So this is Wiser. Once again, everything is on Wiser. To access your financial portal, you would just click on the one that looks like the dollar bill on the far right side, finance and financial aid. And on this link, really, like you can do everything you need to do with the Bursar's office, and mostly with financial aid too. So when you get a chance, please log on and review it. Next, please, Justin. Okay, so for the students that have registered prior to the first week in January, you may have received an e-bill already. I think the e-bill was sent on January 7th. We e-bill typically on the 7th of each month, and the due date is the following month. So if you registered after the 7th, we actually won't even be sending you an e-bill until February. Of course, you can start classes. That's not going to be a problem. So when you get your e-bill, take a chance to review it. There's different ways that you can pay the invoice. We still do accept cash. With cash, you would have to bring it to the bursar's office. We're located in Campus Center on the 4th floor, and there's 2 teller windows right outside of the elevator lobby, and they would take the cash. You can pay by credit card or by e-check on your Wiser, on your student center. With the credit card payments or even a debit card payment, there is a 2.5% convenience fee. So just make sure that if you're paying with debit card, don't pick the card option. We have the electronic check option, and you just have to enter your routing number, check and account number, and the funds will be debited, and you can save yourself that 2.5% fee. If you want to drop off a check or a bank check, you can go to the One Stop. The One Stop is like one-stop shopping. The staff in there cross-trained, registrar, Bursa, and financial aid, and they're located in Campus Center, right in the lobby on the upper level. For the students who are hoping for financial aid to pay their bill, it is not too late to file if you have not yet already filed. But Tim, who comes on after me from financial aid, will discuss that with you. And then we also have a in-house payment plan. So if you have your bill, even if you don't, if you can log into your Wiser and see your balance, you can enroll in a payment plan by February 1st. Even if you enroll now, there's a $30 fee, but if you enroll now, they don't auto debit you until February 1st. It's auto debits are due in the 1st of each month, and they're very good. We use a payment portal, Flywire. Flywire is very good about emailing you to let you know, hey, we're going to be taking money out on this date. Lots of reminder emails. If you want to wait and you want to, you're changing your schedule, you don't know exactly how much your bill is going to be, we do offer a 3-month payment plan, and that will start on February 2nd through March 1st. But and so you have to enroll by March 1st. That is the deadline for payment plans. Next, please, Justin. One of the big things that we handle in our office is health insurance. As a grad student, if you're enrolled in 7 credits or more, you're going to be billed for health insurance automatically. So you have to take action. You have to either waive it if you don't need it, or if you do want it, you have to go on your Wiser, on your student center under the health insurance link, and you have to click confirm that you want to be enrolled. We offer Blue Cross Blue Shield. It is a PPO. It's $2,031 for the semester, and it actually started January 1st, and it will run through July 31st is the coverage date. And when you register for the fall and for your 7 credits or more, you'll be charged again for the 23-24 policy. That will start on August 1st and run through July 31st of 2024. I don't have the rates yet for that, but that does start August 1st. If you're taking 6 credits, but you need health insurance, you can email us at bursa@umb.edu and just request health insurance. Or if you're on program fee and you need health insurance, we do offer it to those students also. We also have a financial aid book advance, and what that means is if your grad students only eligible for loans. So if your loans exceed your charges, you have a credit balance, we send out emails every Monday to say, hey, you've got eligibility of up to X amount of dollars. You can then log on to the Follett, or you can go to the bookstore, or you can log into follett.com and order your books and use financial aid to cover the charges. The book advance is not in addition to your financial aid. but it's just like in advance so that if you need some help and you don't want to get behind, it just, you can purchase your book ahead of time. So once the ad drop period ends, I believe it's January 30th, it's usually a week after the first day of school. Financial aid will then disperse the funds and we start issuing refund checks. We issue refunds every Friday, and the quickest way to receive it is by enrolling in direct deposit. And that's going to be once again on your Wiser and your student center. So say if you were getting a refund, we were cutting a refund for you this Friday. If you enrolled in direct deposit, you would get it into your account next week, someday between Wednesday or Friday. If you do not enroll in direct deposit, what we would do is we would mail the check out to you next Thursday. So it just delays it by a week, and it's just easier. For those of you who drive to campus, we do offer a semester pass. That is the least expensive way to, to be parking on campus. If you are coming 5 days a week, it's definitely worth it. The other advantage to having a semester pass is if you were to come to campus and the lot is closed with the semester pass, it does allow you in, and you can come and go as you please. And it's just the one charge as opposed to, if you had to run out for a few minutes and come back, you'd be paying twice if you're just paying out of pocket each time. So when we send the e-bills, please pay attention to it. Like I said, we do e-bill usually in the 7th, due dates usually the 1st of the following month. Because if you aren't enrolled in a payment plan, you haven't paid your balance, you don't have financial aid, at some point you will get a late fee. Late fee is $70, but $70 is $70. So you want to make sure you don't get charged late fee. And the other thing is it does prevent enrollment. Like Sarah said, enrollment, I know you haven't started the semester yet, but enrollment for the fall semester will start early April. So you want to make sure, you get all your ducks in a row. So that way you can pick the classes that you need with the schedule that you need. Having a financial hold, what we call the pass-through hold, you're not going to be able to access your grades or get a transcript. So please pay attention to the due date. Next, Justin. Oh, I think that's it for me. So on to Tim. I'm going to shoot my email down in the chat. So if anyone needs assistance, feel free to email me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shirley and Sarah. All right, next we have Timothy Hunt from the Office of Financial Aid.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to UMass Boston. Again, my name is Timothy Hunt. I work in the Financial Aid Office. I'm here to present on the graduate financial aid, and I can answer any questions you may have in the chat. You can also follow up with me afterwards, either via email or by phone, whatever is best for you guys. So I'm assuming you guys are spring 23 admits. No, it's not too late to complete a FAFSA for the spring 23 term. There are currently 2 FAFSA applications available. One is for the 2022-23 academic year. That is the one you'd want to complete for the spring 23 term. The 2023-24 FAFSA, which will be used for the upcoming 2023-24 academic year, which runs from fall 23 through summer 23. So in order for graduate students to receive federal student aid, they must enroll in at least 6 credits, which is the minimum enrollment to borrow federal student loans, and you must make satisfactory academic progress, which means you have a GPA above 3.0, a credit completion of 67% or more, and you haven't attempted 150% or more of the credits that's required to complete your program. So what that means is if it takes 30 credits to complete your program and you've attempted more than 45 credits, then you wouldn't be meeting satisfactory academic progress. If students aren't meeting satisfactory academic progress, they do have the option to appeal if they can document extenuating circumstances. So the FAFSA application is made available every year on October 1st. That's why there's currently 2 applications out there. So again, just as a reminder, you want to do the 2022-23 FAFSA for spring 23, but students must complete a FAFSA for every academic year they wish to apply for financial aid. And you'll see that UMass Boston school code is listed here on the slide. But when you go onto your FAFSA application, you'll have the option of either entering our school code, or you can select UMass Boston, and then the school code will populate automatically for you. Justin, can you go to the next slide? All right, so graduate students who complete a FAFSA can be eligible to borrow up to $20,500 per academic year in a federal direct unsubsidized loan. So $20,500 is the maximum you can get per academic year. The lifetime aggregate limit for an unsubsidized loan for graduate students is $138,500. So if you reach this combined limit, either through undergrad and graduate borrowing or just graduate borrowing, you'll no longer be eligible to borrow an unsubsidized loan, but there are additional loan options I'll discuss in the next few slides. So the current interest rate is fixed at 6.54% for this current 2022-23 academic year. And there's a roughly 1% origination fee that's deducted prior to disbursement. So when you see your loan award, you'll see a gross and a net amount. The net amount is because the origination fee has been deducted prior to disbursement. It's not something that you actually have to pay out of pocket. So interest accrues from the time of disbursement for unsubsidized loans. Right now, we're in a period of student loan forbearance, so interest is not accruing, but once the forbearance ends, interest will be accruing on this loan. You do not have to begin repayment until 6 months after you graduate, or 6 months after falling below a half-time enrollment status. So for example, if you're in 3 credits in your last term, in your 6-month grace period prior to repayment would begin during that term. So you do have the option to defer payment until after you graduate, but if you wanted to, you could make interest or interest in principal payments while you're in school. You would just have to set that up with your servicer. Again, it's not a requirement, just something for you to know. The Department of Education is your lender, but you will be assigned a specific company to service the repayment of your loan for the Department of Education. Please know that you must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen in order to receive federal student aid. And in order to borrow a federal direct unsubsidized loan, you will be required to complete a master promissory note, which is your agreement to repay the loan, and entrance counseling, which goes through your rights and responsibilities as a federal loan borrower before we can disperse any loan for you. Justin, can you go to the next slide? All right, so the Graduate Plus loan is an additional loan that graduate students can apply for if they're in need of additional aid, or let's say if they've utilized all of their unsubsidized loan eligibility lifetime or within an academic year. It is an application you fill online at studentaid.gov, which is the same website where you go to complete the FAFSA. It does require a credit approval. The credit restrictions for a plus loan are much looser than, say, for a private student loan, but they are looking for any major write-offs, bankruptcies, or anything like that. If a borrower is denied a Graduate Plus loan, they have the option to appeal, or they can try to add an endorser, which is like a co-signer for their loan application to be reconsidered for approval. So the interest rate for a Graduate Plus loan is 7.54%. That's 1% more than the unsubsidized loan. And the origination fee is 4.228%, which is roughly 3% higher than the unsubsidized loan. This is why graduate students want to utilize their full unsubsidized loan eligibility before applying for a Graduate Plus loan, because the terms of an unsubsidized loan are much better in terms of interest rate and origination fee, and it's not credit based, so you don't have to have any knock on your credit by applying for the loan. Just like the unsubsidized loan, interest accrues from the time of disbursement. The Department of Education is your lender. Must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. And you must enroll at least half-time. Just like the unsubsidized loan, 6 graduate credits counting towards your degree. That's the minimum enrollment requirement to borrow federal student loans. It has the same repayment terms and grace period as a federal direct unsubsidized loan. And just like the unsubsidized loan, you have to complete a Graduate Plus loan master promissory note and entrance counseling before that loan would disperse. Justin, can you go to the next slide? So private student loans are another option for students. They can apply online directly with elmselect.com, choose a lender of your choice that works with UMass Boston students. If you apply online with Elm Select, you'll see different lenders from Sallie Mae to Discover to Citizens Bank. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with and like the terms of the loan, or if you have experience working with that particular lender. Say if you have a Discover savings account and you like Discover, there's no, you can definitely go ahead and apply with Discover, but you could apply with any lender of your choice. Again, unlike unsubsidized loan and the Graduate Plus loan, private loans come with the option of fixed and variable interest rate options. Interest does accrue from the time of disbursement. A creditworthy cosigner may be required for approval, but a creditworthy cosigner might also qualify you for a lower interest rate. When you choose fixed and variable rate options between those options for the loan, or if you decide for repayment to defer in full, make interest-only payments, or immediate repayment options, all of these things, the interest rate, the repayment type, and the fact of whether you have a cosigner can all impact your interest rate for a private student loan. So it is definitely something you want to research as you're looking through the application options to see exactly which way you'd want to go. If you defer in full without a cosigner and choose a fixed rate option, you're most likely to have the highest interest rate. Variable interest rate options can be great at the time, but with interest rates could rise versus a fixed interest rate is fixed for the life of the loan. Also, if you make interest only or immediate repayment options your choice for the loan, you might qualify for a lower interest rate instead of deferring in full. International students can apply for a private student loan with a creditworthy cosigner who is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. They would go online at the same website, elmselect.com, choose the option, but you would have to have a cosigner as an international student for a private loan. Justin, can you go on the next slide? So there are some additional aid options. Some of you are already here tonight because you've been awarded an assistantship, or you may inquire on one in the future. Those come with tuition and fee credits and stipends in some instances. You could also qualify for possible fellowships. If you're interested in federal work study and you didn't check off that on your FAFSA, and you're still interested to see if there's any available work study opportunities or funding, you can contact our Student Employment Office. The TEACH grant is one federal grant that is actually eligible, graduate students can be eligible to receive. This is for students that want to become teachers in a high need field for a school serving low income students. If you wish to apply for a TEACH grant, there are 2 forms on our UMass Boston Financial Aid Services website. And the certification of academic eligibility form will be reviewed by our College of Education to determine if you are eligible for a TEACH grant. And if you are, then we would award you accordingly. And you would have to serve for 4 years within 8 years of completing your program in a school serving low-income students while teaching in the high-need field. For this grant, if you don't fulfill your service obligation for a TEACH grant, then it would be converted into an unsubsidized loan. Excuse me. You can also apply for outside scholarships, whether you search on your own through like a Google search, or you can use these links, which are also on our Financial Aid Services webpage. You can also contact your Department of Graduate Program Director just to see if there's any additional funding opportunities that may not be awarded through Financial Aid Services or other offices. Justin, can you go to the next slide? So from time to time, instances come up where we might have to adjust your financial aid. It could be at your request. It could be because of the addition of tuition credit and fee waivers or a change in the waiver percentage. You might have received departmental or outside awards. You might change enrollment, or you may withdraw from the term. Any of these reasons could cause your aid to be reduced. If we do ever adjust your aid for any reason, you'll receive an email notification from our office with the adjustment reason. If you have questions about why aid has been adjusted, or if you're ever interested in to know you're expecting a tuition credit or a scholarship and it hasn't been notated in your financial aid package, you can definitely reach out to our office by contacting our main line or the financial aid mailbox. You can always contact me as well. Be happy to review any of those issues for you as a graduate student and if there's any adjustment to your aid. Justin, you on the next slide?
I think you're off the hook.
So yes, that ends it for me tonight. I'll put my contact information in the chat. I will also try to answer any questions that may have come up while I've been talking this evening in the chat as well. But if any graduate financial aid questions come up, please feel free to email, call me, whatever is best for you. Same thing, you can contact our main line or financial aid mailbox and other staff can help you as well. Thank you guys and welcome to UMass Boston.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tim. All right, next we're going to be hearing from Sean Morgan, the Executive Director of our Office of Global Programs.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to UMass Boston. Hopefully you can all hear me. I've been having some mic trouble. Okay, excellent, thank you. So the Office of Global Programs, we're located on the 2nd floor of the campus center in Suite 2100. Our office is dedicated to creating a global community and connecting UMass Boston to our larger international community, and forge new directions and new connections for the university for all of our students, not only within an academic sense, but also in a research and travel sense also. We support everyone as global citizens, and we're eager for all of our students to experience different cultures and have different experiences throughout their time at UMass Boston. We offer opportunities for global engagement, and we strive to help the community think critically and creatively, care deeply about being members of a global community. The ways in which we do that, we have our international student and scholar services. Many of you here may be international students yourselves. You'll deal directly with our office on the ISSS side with regards to your non-immigrant status and visa compliance. On the other side of our house is our study abroad and partnerships. You may find an opportunity where you wish to do research and study overseas at some point, or participate in an academic faculty-led study abroad program, which is our short-term programs that operate during semester breaks, whether it be winter break, spring break, or during the summer months. We'll help coordinate those with faculty members who want to lead you to trips overseas. For example, we have trips upcoming this summer to Costa Rica, Ireland, the Netherlands, Sicily, and I believe Morocco at the minute, with more being added to the menu as things go forward. So be on the lookout for different study abroad opportunities and research opportunities, and stop by our office at any time to ask any questions. And I'm all set, Justin.
Great. Thanks so much. All right, so next we are going to hear a little bit from the Ross Center for Disability Services, and I believe we have Hannah Huynh.
It's me, yes.
Awesome, great.
Hi, Justin. Hi, everybody. I'm Hannah Huynh. I represent the Ross Center for Disability Services. I'm the assistant director there. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what our office does, and then I very much encourage you to reach out to us directly if you'd like to talk more. You can certainly put questions in the chat, but because our office serves individuals with disabilities, I don't blame you one bit if you don't want to put information about yourself in the chat. So our goal is to provide reasonable academic accommodations for students with documented disabilities or health conditions or physical access needs, really any need that you have that impacts you academically or physically that is caused by a disability. So in order to register with our office, as the slide says, registering is easy. We have a pretty simple form that you can fill out on our website. We call it a registration request. Embedded in the form, it calls it an application. So we'll ask you for a little bit of information about yourself, what your areas of need are. If you have a history of receiving accommodations, we're interested to hear that too. It's not a requirement though. We also will need documentation of your disability, which can come in many forms. For some people, it's as simple as a letter from a clinician or a doctor. Some people have neuropsychological testing. It really does depend on the nature of your condition. And you can submit that to our website. You can email it to us, fax it, or you can just drop it off in person. We'll make a copy and give you back the original. Once we have that documentation, we'll invite you to meet with a Ross Center staff member. We'll talk through the documentation together, discuss what accommodations are appropriate, and then by the time you leave that meeting, you'll know what's approved and how to implement it. And then from that point forward, you'll log into our database each term to kind of like activate your accommodations for each course that you're in. So our office, as I mentioned before, we serve all students with documented disabilities. It could be any condition that impacts you in this way. You're covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act, medical, mobility, sensory, mental health, learning, cognitive, neurological, really all of the above. We're here to help you navigate. So with that said, that's just kind of like a bare bones overview of what we do. Like I said, if you have a medical condition or mental health, learning disability, really anything like that, we're happy to talk with you more. If you've never done this process before, all the more reason to reach out. If you have done it before and this isn't your first rodeo, then go ahead and submit to us what you have, and we can continue the process from there. I'll put my email in the chat as well. Like I said, if you do have questions, that you feel comfortable putting in the chat, go right ahead. Or please do email us and we're happy to help you out. Okay, Justin, I think I'm all set.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Hannah. All right, so moving on, we have this Consortium for Graduate Studies in Gender, Culture, Women, and Sexuality across Boston College, Boston University, Brandeis, Harvard, MIT, Northeastern Simmons, Tufts, and UMass Boston. Unfortunately, we don't have a representative from GCWS this evening, but I did just want to flag it. And again, the slides and the link are on the internet and email, reverse respectively. So basically, there's everything from co-curricular programming to course registrations to just kind of community supports around these issues within various disciplines at those universities. So if you are in a discipline that kind of traditionally looks at those issues, or even if you are not, if you are looking for something interdisciplinary that can kind of flesh out your studies, please do check that out. Now I want to turn things over to, I believe Delaney Brown is here with us to talk a little bit about the Graduate Student Assembly.
Hi, my name is Delaney. I'm the president of the Graduate Student Assembly here at UMass Boston. I would like to welcome everyone. Yeah, so here's a couple contact information we have. So you can always email us at gsassembly. We also have a UMB involved page, which is the club's page form. Or you can stop by our office, which I'm at right now, which is in the campus center, 3rd floor. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So a little bit about us is we are the graduate student government here on campus. And every graduate student is eligible to join us. We have our executive committee, which includes me, our vice president, Megan, our treasurer, Diane, and our 2 secretaries, Samesh and Nitika. And we have an advisor, Chiquita, on campus. So some of the things that we collaborate on, we work with the Graduate Studies Office, we work with Graduate Employment Organization, we work with the Faculty Council, Student Affairs, Dean of Students. We have also worked with the undergrads in the programs that they have been working on. Yeah, and then we can go to the next slide.
Delaney, you want me to take over?
Yes, please.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Beckman. I'm the treasurer for the GSA, and welcome to UMass Boston. So aside from a million other things, the GSA is primarily known for funding and fun. Fun meaning social events. Funding comes in 3 different forms. The grants that we fund: professional development grants, which are for conferences. If you attend conferences, if you're presenting, you can be awarded up to $400, or if you're just attending, up to $250 for, to cover expenses, transportation, or, accommodations or whatever. And then there's the Spain and Bollinger grants, which are, Spain is for master's students and Bollinger for PhD students. This past semester, we awarded 6 Bollinger grants and 2, I think, Spain grants. They were each $1,000. All those dollar amounts that I mentioned can vary from year to year. It's based on what's in our budget, which is based on enrollment. I won't go into that. Anyway, the other thing is events that we have, and not all are fun, some are serious. We've had things like, resume writing workshops, but we do a lot of social events that are listed on the slide there. Our fall event that was well attended, we had a killer game of musical chairs, which involved a lot of laughing, a lot of racing, and fighting over chairs. Yeah, grown-up style. So yeah, we like to have fun. We are talking about an end of year party this year and do it in style. So either like a dinner boat cruise on the Charles River or maybe a rooftop bar downtown Boston. Those plans are still in the works. And we're working on our spring kickoff event, which will be next Friday. I think, Delaney, you're going to get an email out to everyone to make sure they have the details on that. And that's pretty much it for me. So you can, Justin, you can move to the next slide. Yeah, I think Nitika, are you?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Nitika, the Secretary of GSA, and I'm going to talk about Recognized Professional Associations, in short, RPAs. So what is an RPA? RPA is a club or organization run by the graduate students for other graduate students. So every semester, there are many clubs which are activated. And for the spring semester, we have the following 10 clubs, which is already activated. And the GSA sponsors these clubs by funding them to organize meetings and events. If any of you would like to join any of these existing clubs, or if you would like to start a club on your own, or if you would like to know more information about the RPAs, feel free to email us at gsassembly@umb.edu, and we are more than happy to assist you. Thank you. That's it for me. You can move on to the next slide, please.
Hi, this is Somesh, Secretary of the GSA. About this slide, these are all the given resources that would help you connect with us, know about GSA events, everything that we are doing on campus. And, you could use these links, and the scan is here. You could just scan it and join our WhatsApp group, follow us on Instagram, stay updated what we are doing and what we are up to. You're always part of GSA, like other slides that were explained by Delaney and Nitika. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking forward to see you all, and welcome to UMass Boston. Thank you.
And Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Megan. Good luck with the semester and welcome to UMass.
Yeah, and then one last announcement, like Diane said, we're having a social event next Friday, January 27th. 6 to 8 p.m. and we'll be sending out more information and an RSVP link to your emails, but we hope everyone can make it out and we can meet you in person.
Great, thanks so much. All right, next up, we're gonna move to the off-campus living office. Do we have anyone from the office? I don't believe we do.
Hi, Justin, it's John Sears from Off-Campus Living.
Perfect. Take it away, John. Thanks.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to UMass Boston. I'm John Sears from the Office of Off-Campus Living, and our office primarily assists students in finding rental apartments in and around the Boston area. We can also help you find roommates if you're still looking for roommates. And then also, if you're renting in Boston for the first time, we have resources available on our website, which you can find there under the Contact Us link, or just point your phone towards the QR code to the right of the slide there, and that'll take you right to our webpage. Once you get to our homepage, it's very easy to register. Use your UMass Boston credentials. It's free and automatic, and it's an exclusive site for UMass Boston students to look for both apartments, and you can create a roommate profile. If you have not found accommodations yet, you can still find accommodations before the beginning of the semester. There is plenty of inventory in and around the greater Southern Boston area, Dorchester, and communities all around the university. But I encourage you to get started. If you would like, I will put our email in the chat. You can contact us. We can do a one-to-one consultation with you over Zoom to learn about your circumstances and help you craft a strategy for finding an apartment. If you don't need our services right away, remember that we exist. A year or two down the road during your career as a beacon, you might find that you need to move apartments or find an apartment. Reach out to us. We're happy to assist you in the apartment and roommate hunting endeavors. And I wish you all the best during this semester. Take care. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks so much, John. All right, and do we have a representative from UMass Boston Recreation this evening? Let me see, Andrew. All right, so I will stumble through. Sorry for all of these offices where I'm just kind of walking through the slides, but basically we have everything from fitness classes to co-curricular or intramural sports, fitness and wellness programs, events. So as you get settled and you want to have some fun or you want to focus on health and wellness and fitness, feel free to reach out. The information will be on the slides, and of course, you can always visit their website. Do we have anyone with us from UHS General Medicine? Okay, so similarly, as you can imagine, we do have University Health Services on campus. If you need anything from kind of general medical support to, again, health and wellness and other more holistic approaches to well-being, they have that and more. They also have the counseling center, which you can reach at any time by calling that number and dial 0. We have this new student health and wellness to-do list. Again, I'm not going to do it injustice by going over it, but just know that we're here to support you. In addition to the compliance things that you're asked to do for things like Title IX, sexual assault awareness training, we will follow up, et cetera, and help you through as you kind of get that squared away. Same thing with immunization forms. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about the UAccess office on campus. I don't believe, is there anyone from UAccess with us this evening? This is a dedicated office that's specifically designed to help students pursue economic security and fight against kind of campus and just sort of community poverty. So some of the services are, we have a food pantry, meal and snack programs, SNAP application assistant, and then there's also advocacy consultation. So if you're having trouble with housing or finances, we can set you up through that those UAccess services to try to get you where you need to be so that you can be successful academically. So again, here are some examples: tax prep, resource referrals, legal consultations. So do dive into these slides a bit more as you need to. And please do keep this in mind as you come across colleagues and other people on campus that might need these services and might not know that they exist. So all the contact information, excuse me?
I was like, can I just add that I want to encourage students, I don't work in that office, but we all care on campus, that you shouldn't hesitate. Like, everybody has a need at a certain time. And if you have a need, don't worry about whether or not you think your need is as great as someone else's. If you need something, go to them and then they will help you.
Great, thanks. All right, we also have an emergency alert system. So if you haven't already done so, that's the website to go on. And then as everything from like school closings, or if there are emergencies on campus, like water pipe bursts, things like that, you'll get notifications a little bit faster. And do we have anyone with us from the Dean of Students office? All right, so essentially the Dean of Students office is a kind of catch-all. If you have any trouble, or again, if you know of people who have trouble, et cetera, we really try to get people to utilize the Dean of Students office right away. If it's not something the Dean of Students office directly deals with, they will often work with other campus units. So it's a real good place to just start if you're not quite sure if there's something wrong, but you're not quite sure where to go. But you don't feel quite comfortable talking to your program, whatever the reason, they're there to help. And Georgiana, may I borrow your adjacent expertise to go over the civil rights and Title IX? I'm not sure, I don't think we have anyone from that office with us.
That's okay. So hi, everyone. I am Georgiana Melendez. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am the Assistant Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion on campus. Also a double UMass Boston alum. And I used to, the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX function used to be in my office. So we separated them a few years back. So basically, if our goal is to make sure that you have a fully inclusive campus experience, I'll bring your full self, bring your full identity, be who you are on campus. And sometimes that doesn't work because there are people who will discriminate against you or treat you in a way that feels discriminatory. And we just want you to know that you have resources on campus to file complaints or to get an intervention, both either formal or informal, through the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX. And Title IX, if you haven't heard that term before, relates to gender-based protection, gender identity, sexual harassment, and those kinds of things. And so this office has a process. They'll meet with you and tell you what your options are. And if you decide that you want to go an informal route, they'll walk you down the path of what that looks like. And if you want to file a formal complaint, they'll talk you down the path of what that looks like, and then they would engage. If the respondent being the person that has that you're having a concern about is another student, then it would be handled by the Dean of Students office. And if the person that you have a concern about is an employee of the university, it would be handled through this Office of Civil Rights and Title IX. They have a very close working relationship. And so you don't have to remember who or where. If you land at any of them, they will get you to the right person when you need them. And, you know, sometimes when you file a complaint against someone, you don't know exactly what you want, except for that you want whatever it is to stop. And so they can also help you understand what that might look like. Sometimes you want someone to receive education because maybe the behavior wasn't intentional, but it doesn't make it any less oppressive or hurtful. And so that could potentially be an option. But then there is also a compliance option. So we have the Student Code of Conduct that is applied through the Dean of Students office, and the employee handbook through the employee side, the HR side. Does anyone have any questions about that? And you don't have to know which office. Again, if you go to the UMB website or you go to the Here For You app and you type in the words file a complaint or harassment or whatever it is that you're concerned about, it will pop up. It will direct you there. So I just want you to know it's a resource. And actually, the next slide is mine. So Justin, if you want to send it over. So this is mine. Our office is basically here to make sure that our systems, our processes, and your experience as a student is inclusive. And so UMass Boston, with close to 17,000 students and 3,000 employees, is a microcosm of the world, which means that the experiences you have out there, you can have on campus as well. And so as much as we would like to say that we create this inclusive climate, things can happen, but we're constantly looking to measure that. So in October, as an example, this past October, we ran a climate study, which we'll have the results of this coming spring. But the idea is to constantly ask and find out, like, what is the experience? Where are the places that we could improve? Are there systems and structures that we could enhance or put in place or take away to create this experience? Can I have the next slide? So part of how we do that, we do trainings and workshops, a lot of professional development. We have put most of our employees through a 4-hour training on gender identity and gender expression and pronouns, as well as microaggression training. The idea is that we can't know that we're doing things if we don't have the language for them and if we haven't been socialized in that way. And because people come to UMass Boston from all over the world, we can't assume that we all come with the same level of knowledge and terminology and understanding of each other. So we know for sure that we have lots of different types of belief systems, and we can't expect that everyone will share belief systems, but you will be in the same spaces, right? So, and you're committed to your belief systems. And so you get to have that. You get to be in a classroom space with that. You get to be in your social spaces with that. And the idea is that you navigate those differences with respect and with a curiosity, but that you're not oppressing or harming someone or shutting down their voice and not allowing them to be themselves. And so we try to roll out workshops and trainings. We also have a student council called SEAT, which is Student Engagement and Access Team, And we have a graduate student whose job is to reach out to other graduate students, either through the GSA or other forums, to constantly check in to see if there are any things that need to be addressed related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We also have someone on the undergraduate side. When we find something that needs to be changed, we work very hard to make sure that that happens. Right now, one of the things that we're working on, we do have a map on our website for all of the gender inclusive restrooms or the single-use restrooms to help people find them. But we don't have enough on campus, and sometimes the labeling was wrong, and there's some education that needs to happen around that. And so that's part of what our office advocates for and works with the facilities and other offices on. Community outreach. Whenever we have a new program or we have a resource that we think might be beneficial to folks on campus, we put effort into making sure that you're aware of it. It's really hard though, because I shouldn't just say students. People don't like email anymore, right? So email's not the thing. So we're trying to figure out, we send the e-blast and nobody clicks on them. So we're constantly trying to do outreach, whether it's posters, whether it's social media, also using email, the student paper, every which way to make sure that what we have going on is communicated. Because we found that there are a lot of times that things we do, there are students who are experiencing frustrations because they don't know that we're actually doing them. And so let's see what else I can tell you. The Restorative Justice Commission is something that's unique to UMass Boston. It's about 2 years old. It is a commission made up of employees, students, and faculty. So students, staff, and faculty. And the goal is for, that is a body that folks will bring proposals to be vetted to ensure that they're social justice related. So not just racial justice, but all kinds of social justice. An example of that is that someone thought that we should have an ombuds office, right? And so that's not something that currently exists at UMass Boston. And so actually there were several departments and everybody had an idea of what it should look like. And so it went through the Restorative Justice Commission. There was a lot of vetting about what it meant for students as opposed to what it meant for faculty and staff, what the structure might look like, what the type of person who would be in that role might look like. And we actively endorsed it, but had some parameters that we passed on to the Chancellor's office. And we are now actively hiring someone for that position to create an ombuds office. So there's a lot of different things that will flow through there connected to restorative justice. We are currently looking for a graduate student to self-nominate or be nominated for the spring semester to participate in the meetings once a month plus committee meetings. So if you have any interest, I'll put the email address in the chat. And I'm wondering if you have any questions. Well, welcome to UMass Boston. I do really love being here. I've been here since 2009 as a grad student in both of my programs. So I did my master's and PhD here, and it's been phenomenal for me. And so I even love working here. So welcome.
Thanks so much, Georgiana. All right, next we're gonna learn a little bit about the resources at the Healy Library, and I believe we have Teresa Maciera here.
Yes, hi, Justin. Good. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Teresa Maceda. I'm the head of the Reference Outreach and Instruction Department at the library. And I have a slide on just some really basic information about the library that everyone should know coming into the new academic semester. So the first thing to know about the library is that most of our resources are in electronic format. There's very few materials that are actually physical, books, DVDs, for example, archival material, but everything aside from those is in electronic format. And recently we made a huge change within our systems on how to access all these resources. And now the only thing you really need to do when you want to access a full text ebook, a journal article, or streaming video is just log in with UMass Boston email and password. That's all you need to do. That's really a drastic change, of really a huge convenience for everyone involved. So, so that's the only thing you need to remember. You want access, you just need to log in, just like you do with everything else at UMass Boston. To contact the certain departments, I've included those emails because these are the ones that are public facing and will really help you out. The first one is anything related to the library, as far as checking out a book, what's the library hours, etc. You want to email library.circulation@umb.edu. That's our main portal on disseminating information or working with students on campus. The other email I have in this slide is to the reference department, my department, when you need help with your research. You feel free to email the department at library.reference@umb.edu, and we usually respond to your emails within a couple of hours. We're always monitoring that email. Also, as far as research help, we have a page in the library. It's called Ask a Librarian. And when you click on that page, you will find a lot of resources to help you with your research. And I just want to talk about two specific services which are really, really popular and really designed to help out graduate students. The first one I want to talk about is Chat 24/7. That's a chat service that's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is staffed by UMass Boston reference librarians, my department basically, but it's also international. So when we are not available on chat, there are a host of international librarians that will be able to help you with your research questions. Or once you complete the chat, the transcript is sent to us and then we can review the chat to make sure that that librarian was able to answer and respond to your question. If there's any missing information or more information that we can add value to that chat, we will send that to you. We will email you directly with additional information. So aside from Chat 24/7, one of the most popular resources with specifically graduate students is the research consultation. You self-schedule yourself with the research consultation, and which can be as short as 15 minutes to an hour. We would provide you support according to your assignment or any kind of work that you're doing, either through just one meeting or semester long. So we're there to help you with just one quick question you have, or if you need support, research support throughout your dissertation process, for example. So all those services are found in Ask a Librarian page. You can just go through it. We have a lot more services to help you with your research, and that includes email, forms, and drop-ins where you can actually go to the library and visit us. So that's the research help. And one of the main things that you see when you go into the library landing page will be the search box called Umbrella. And that is the library's discovery tool. It's our catalog. It's where you go to find out if we carry something, if we own it, if we subscribe to it. Umbrella is incredibly robust. It's a really strong interface. If you sign in with your UMass Boston email and password, you have access to even more services within the Umbrella interface, and that includes automatic request options for interlibrary loan and curbside pickup. You also have, of course, access to your library account, and you can save your searches and article resources that you can later review. So that's Umbrella. I mentioned interlibrary loan, and interlibrary loan is a free service available through Healy Library. Interlibrary loan is found separately in the library landing page, or you can find it also integrated into the Umbrella platform. So interlibrary loan you can request physical items like books, which can be delivered to the library, and you can pick them up at the library, or you can request them through curbside pickup. We also take requests, of course, for electronic content, and that is actually the bulk of the sources transactions that we do handle through interlibrary loan. Most of the interlibrary loan requests are filled within a day or two, unless it's an older content that has to be scanned and then sent to you through PDF format. You just sign into your interlibrary loan account, just again with your UMass Boston email and password. I also want to talk about Lean Library, which is a browser extension that we acquired a couple of years ago. The browser extension is a fantastic way to find articles that we already subscribe to or have available in full text on the web. If you use Google Scholar a lot, if you download the extension, then once you click on something that we actually own, the pop-up will notify you to log in for access. If you're on the web and you do a lot of research, web-based research, the browser extension will also pop up when you click on something to signal that we have access to that content. I've been talking about all these library resources that we have available at Healy Library, but as graduate students, please always keep in mind that you're not limited to our collections and our holdings. You have access to the partner libraries here in Boston area. The main ones I've added to the slide are the Boston Library Consortium, which includes all the major university libraries in the Boston area, where you can actually go and visit and use their resources. And just make sure you bring your beacon card and stop by at Healy Library to fill out a form that is required. You also have Boston Public Library, which is a Massachusetts major research institution, which gives you a wealth of resources just by either going to one of the libraries or filling out an e-card. And once you get the e-card, you will have electronic access to those resources. And last but not least is the Fenway Library Organization. And those libraries are in the Fenway area. And you again have access to those resources just by visiting that library. But again, stop at the library and get that form, and you're good to go. So also, I just want to mention that Healy Library is on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And so do follow us when on those platforms. And that's all I have. I will hang on for a little while and answer any questions anybody has through chat. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Teresa. All right, next we'll hear from our new UMass Boston Writing Center. We have Professor Florian Jimenez, co-director of that center.
Yes. Hi, thank you, Justin, and thank you all for having me. Welcome to UMass Boston. So I'm Dr. Florian Jimenez. I'm an assistant professor of English and also co-director of the new university-wide writing center here at UMass Boston. So part of our mission is to provide free writing support to UMass Boston undergraduate and graduate students, faculty, and staff. As a former graduate student myself, writing is a fundamental part of graduate school and graduate study. You will be writing probably from day one of graduate school. You'll do your seminar papers, you'll do your comprehensive or qualifying exams, you'll do a master's, you might do a master's thesis, you might do a doctoral dissertation, and you'll be learning to write grants. Graduate study is all about writing in whatever field that you are in. And it's also one of the hardest things about graduate school, but it can also be one of the most rewarding parts of graduate school. And so what we offer graduate students and undergraduate students as well is we offer individual consultations in person and online. And these are 45-minute sessions with trained undergraduate and graduate consultants. And this is on writing at any stage of the writing process. It can even be writing that you're not doing for school. It can be writing that you're doing extracurricularly. Or my favorite kinds of sessions actually are the ones where people come in and it's the start of the semester and they bring in all of their syllabi and we come up with a plan for working on their writing over the course of the semester. We map out your deadlines, we break down projects into steps. So you don't even have to come in with a specific writing project. You can just come in to talk to somebody about writing. So how do you access these appointments? So if you look at our website, which is umb.edu/writing center, you'll see a big button there that says make an appointment. That will take you to our appointment making system, which is called WC Online. And you do have to make a new account with your UMass Boston email address. You don't automatically have an account in the same way that you do with Wiser or Blackboard. You have to make a new account. And so your password can be the password that you use for UMass Boston, or it can be an entirely new password. So you can make appointments with us in advance. We also have drop-in hours where you can literally just drop into our office, our main location in the campus center, first floor, room 1300, and our satellite location, which is on the 6th floor of Wheatley Hall, room 48. In the evenings, you can literally just walk in and see if somebody is available to chat with you about your writing. And when we work with writers, we can work on anything from sentence level, like if you have sentence level questions, if you have, if you're not sure how to organize a sentence or a paragraph, or if you want to plan out your big writing project, we can work with you on whatever your goals and needs are. And so another offering that we have for graduate students this semester is we have a writing group that will run on Thursdays beginning February 2nd from 10 a.m. to 12:30 in the campus center, first floor, room 1313. And the writing group is really meant to provide writers with community and accountability around their writing. So writing can feel really isolating, right? And writing can feel really frustrating. What the writing group offers is a supportive space where at the beginning of the writing session, we'll all go around, do brief introductions, talk about what we are working on for that day. And then we will all work quietly from 10 a.m. to 12:30, but also feel free to come and go as your schedule allows. If you're late, if you stay for the whole time, or if you stay just for a little bit, it doesn't matter. What matters is you come and bring your writing and write in community with other people. And it's a nice way to kind of find a stable and quiet space to work with others who are also writing. So if you would like to learn more about us, please visit our website. It's on the link in this slide. It's umb.edu/writing center. You can learn more about our appointments and how they typically run, our writing groups. You can learn how to schedule an appointment. Or if you have questions, you can also visit Writing Center at umb.edu or visit us on Twitter at UMass Boston WC. We also have an Instagram presence that we're currently building, and I'm going to drop that in the chat. But if you have any questions about the Writing Center and our services and what kind of supports we offer, I am going to stick around in the chat for a couple minutes. But again, welcome to UMass Boston, and the Writing Center is excited to have you.
Great, thanks so much. All right, now we're going to turn to the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs. And I believe, I'm not sure, is Mike here with us? Or Tracy?
Hi, I'm here.
Great.
Okay, this normally is not my section, so Justin, I'll take a stab at it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Tracy Poston. I'm actually the Associate Director for Research, Compliance and Integrity for the university. And this first slide from my colleague, Michael, has to do with funding. There are several outlets for you at UMB if you are working on a thesis or a dissertation. We have a program called Pivot that allows you to look for funding which will support your research. And so Michael and several of the individuals in that part of the Office of Research are available to help you find funding to support your research during the time you're here at UMass. Next slide. And you can just skip ahead. So one of the things that you're going to run into when you are researching start your research at UMass Boston, especially if you're funded, is RCR, which stands for Responsible Conduct of Research. There's several areas associated with this and training that you will have to undertake in order to start your research process. Some of this may be familiar with you and others may not. Most of you will come in contact with human subjects and animals, depending upon what you're studying. But each of these areas you'll have to touch on in some capacity during the time that you're here. And that could be either training from my office or a web-based program or the principal investigator or your faculty advisor. Next slide. Many of you who are in the sciences will work with animal research. We do have an animal facility on campus. It is required that all animal research run through the IACUC, which stands for Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee. It's made up of individuals, mostly faculty members, and they approve your research. Because as we all know, that in order to have good human research, most of that starts with an animal research. Next slide. The majority of you, though, however, from what I see at UMass, will run into human subjects research. And like the IACUC, that is regulated by a group of faculty researchers who approve your studies. And so they look at things like risk to the participants, confidentiality, privacy issues, and they base approval of your human subjects based on the protection of the individuals that you are researching. And keep in mind, all this is federally mandated. We're not just making these rules up. We have to provide these services in order for you to complete your research. Next slide. So what's great right now is that we recently went to an online system for submitting your research called Kawali. And so your human subjects research and your animal research will be, all those protocols will be submitted online. You are required to take some online training. And because we use a single sign-on system at UMass Boston, that training will be pulled in to your protocols so that the reviewers, like maybe myself or some faculty members on the committees, will be able to determine that you've completed your training. What I want to point out and what's super important is that pretty much when you are doing any kind of training associated with research, that you use your UMB email. I say that because the systems that we use, especially in research, can only recognize UMB emails. And so I get a lot of times where students are using like a Gmail account or a Me account. And so the system will not recognize that you've completed your training, and that really will hold up the processing of your proposals. Next slide. As I mentioned, we have an online grant management system now that not only does proposal submission, but as I mentioned, the IRB submissions and the IACUC. We also have conflict of interest and conflict of commitment and foreign engagement. Those are areas that you probably will not touch on, but they are part of the system and you will see them in the system. This whole system speeds up the process for getting your proposals submitted and for individuals like myself and the committees to approve them. Next slide. So this is a list of the individuals that are in my area with regards to human subjects and animals. Reach out to us at any time. We are here to help you. We want you to be successful in your research. And so this is something that you need to start early once you have your approval from your faculty advisors. And we're here anytime to assist you with this process. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Tracy.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who has come to talk a little bit about the resources that their offices provide. But most importantly, thank you to all of the incoming graduate students who have sat through all of this information overload. You can forget 95% of it as long as you know that we're here to help and you have these resources and we can remind you of these resources via email, phone, office, whatever works for you. So now we're going to transition to focus specifically on graduate assistantship training. So if you don't currently have a graduate assistantship, this is the end of the line. You're welcome to enjoy the rest of your evening. And for those of you who are starting graduate assistantships, you can hang out and we have my colleague Simon Hale from the Office of Graduate Studies, as well as Jessica Wade and Abru from our Human Resources Office, I believe. So stick around, we'll give people a minute to file out. And thanks again, everyone. Thanks again, everyone.
Okay, I think I can start now. Thank you, Justin, and welcome everyone to UMass. Our office, the part of our office that works with assistantship consists of Paul Mullane, who's the director, myself, the assistant director, and then Jessica Wade as well in our office that assists us as well. This information, you can feel free to reach out to any of us with any questions. We work very closely with the departments and programs that choose the graduate students that they want to give their assistantships to. And so we are another resource here as well. Next slide, please. So again, we help manage the processing of all graduate assistantships at the university. We ensure that the students that are entered as graduate assistants are entered accurately into the university human resources payroll system. We also process the graduate assistantship benefits, which include tuition credit waivers, student health insurance payments, and dental and vision payments if you choose to receive those. We also, again, work very closely with graduate program directors and departments to ensure that all the assistantship data is correct. So just as a general rule, I would say if you have any specific questions about your assistantship, it's probably best to first reach out to your program director, or the administrative staff that work in that department. And then we're there as a resource if there are any questions that need to be brought to us, or if we need to clarify anything. Next slide, please. So the graduate assistantships that you'll receive would either be a teaching assistant, which is a graduate student who is primarily assigned to instructional support activities. So you'd be working with a faculty member to kind of teach a course at the university. Teaching fellow, and that is a graduate student that is actually the instructor of record for a lecture section of a course and has independent responsibility for its teaching and grading. And then a research assistant is a graduate student who performs work primarily related to research, again, with probably a principal investigator, faculty member as your supervisor. Next slide, please. So the eligibility requirements to receive an assistantship are that you need to be a matriculated doctoral or master's student and CAGs as well. Students in graduate certificate programs are not eligible for graduate assistantships. You need to maintain good academic standing, which is a GPA of 3 or higher, and international students must hold an F1 visa. Next slide. So this is just a chart that helps define some of the graduate assistantship stipend rates and tuition benefits for this academic year. So if you are a full-time graduate assistant, we define that as working 18 hours a week. And then your biweekly stipend is defined here as $1,087.17 before taxes and 100% tuition waiver. And you can see the corresponding what it is for a 3/4 assistantship or a half-time assistantship. And that's for either a teaching assistant or a research assistant. For teaching fellows, if you teach 2 classes per term, then you're considered a full-time teaching fellow. And if you teach 1 class per term, then you're considered a half-time teaching fellow. And then the corresponding stipend rates and tuition waivers are there as well. So the first paycheck of the spring semester gets issued on February 3rd. And that is so both the first and last paychecks are half paychecks just because of the way that it falls within the payroll cycle. So don't be alarmed by that if you see that. That's just that's the way that it is for all graduate assistantships for the spring semester. Next slide, please. So this chart just defines the insurance benefits a little more. So if you do elect to receive the student health insurance as part of your graduate assistantship, if you're a full-time graduate assistant, you would receive a university contribution of $2,500, and then the student responsibility would be here at $971. Similarly, for dental insurance and for the vision insurance plan, you would see what the university contribution and student responsibility are. You should have received this when you were working with your programs, and you should have also signed a graduate assistantship form, which defines the faculty member that you're working with, and defines, the amount of hours that you're supposed to be receiving as a grad assistantship, whether that's a full-time 18-hour, 3/4 time, 13.5 hours, or a half-time 9-hour graduate assistantship. So if you haven't received that graduate assistantship form, then you definitely should reach out to your program and just make sure that you straighten that out and get that all squared away before the semester starts. Dental and vision insurance have a rolling deadline, so you can elect to sign up for those later in the semester if you choose. And those are on the UHP website. And again, all that information is in Wiser. Wiser is a very helpful tool for all students. So a lot of the questions that you have are most likely answered through Wiser. So when you check your Wiser account, you'd be able to see, for example, the tuition waivers get placed on your account, or any contributions that we make toward your health insurance or dental or vision insurance as well. Next slide. So another benefit that you get as a graduate assistant is that you can sign up for payroll deduction. So it's completely up to you. It's optional. As you know, the bursar's office described their payment plan. You can certainly sign up for that. This is another payment plan that you have. Deductions occur from 5 of the semester paychecks. You can determine, so after you kind of see how much what your balance is on your account, you can decide if you would like to pay that full amount over these 5 semester paychecks, or if you'd like to pay a piece of that over these 5 semester paychecks. So it's completely up to you. You can do that through Wiser. So if you go into your Wiser homepage, you'll see a sign up tile, and you should be able to sign up for the payroll deduction. And again, you can make the determination about how much or how little you would like to put toward your balance, and that would get deducted over 5 of the semester paychecks during the spring. So the system's already been open. So it opened on Monday, January 2nd, and it closes on Sunday, February 12th. So take a look, and if you're interested, you can sign up. Next slide. So this just defines the pay periods. So again, it's 5 of them, starts towards the end of February and then goes through till the end of the spring semester. And again, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can certainly reach out to your programs, and then also feel free to reach out to us if you have any specific questions that your programs need some assistance with. I think that should be it. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take any questions now. And also, if you think of any, like I said, you can feel free to email us, and we'll be happy to answer those. Thank you.
All right, and are we going to be hearing from HR this evening, or should we head to GEO?
Hi, Justin, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna All right, let me just. There you go.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ebru Korbek Ardolmuş. I'm one of the HR generalists at our Human Resources office. First, on behalf of everyone in my office, welcome and congratulations. Justin, we can move to the next slide. Thank you. So most parts Simon kindly touched base upon regarding your payments, payroll that you're going to be getting through your assistantships, whether you are TA, teaching fellow, TF, or a research assistant. So our role especially comes in to get you paid through our payroll system. So if you're new to our system, you should have already received an email from Office of Graduate Studies that provides you a link with your pre-employment paperwork and information about your I-9 identity and employment eligibility verification forms. So our part is to make sure that these parts are completed, and so that we can have you active in our in our payroll. So for this one, if please make sure that if you are brand new to the university, and if you have a brand new teaching assistant, teaching fellow, or a research assistantship starting this semester, please check your email, complete your pre-employment paperwork through DocuSign, as well as follow the links to complete your section I-9, section 1 online, and then come to our office in person to complete section 2 with the acceptable documents. And we are located in Queen Building, 3rd floor. Next slide. One other really cool feature that we want to talk about is the platform HR Direct, where you can log in at www.umb.edu/HR. So as an employee, as a student employee of the university, you can log in to your HR Direct account to see your, yes, next slide, please, to see your tax amounts, your payroll, paycheck, copy of your paycheck, personal details. And Justin, if you go back, please. One slide back. Yes. So at this link, you can use your UMass Boston email as your login name and your UMass Boston password and login. It's a dual confirmation system. So it will ask you to create a dual account, dual authentication account, and then but I'm quite sure that everyone's savvy with these two-step authentications so far that you can manage. We can go 2 slides further, Justin. Oh, I think we skipped the payroll calendar part, but I believe Simon did explain.
Yeah. It's unfortunately the one that we have is from 2021. So
that's, yeah. So the 2023 calendar is on our website at again umb.edu/HR. And as already just Simon gave the dates, but it's really easy to read the calendar. If you look at the dates that are marked in rectangle, those are the days that we, like everyone else, all of our employees, including our student employees, receive their paycheck. And then the arrows, as you can see, they indicate when the pay period begins and when the pay period ends. And that's referring back to why your first paycheck will be a half paycheck, and then why your last paycheck will be a half paycheck, because how the pay periods align with semester beginning and end dates. That's about it. And we do wish you a great semester. Welcome.
great, thanks so much. And I actually, I think I found the pay calendar for 2023. I'll try to put that link in the chat as well.
Thank you.
All right, and then finally, I believe we have representation from the Graduate Employee Organization.
Always.
Excellent, take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Warren Hinkle. I'm, I guess, an alumni now from UMass Boston and the service representative for the Graduate Employee Organization. We are the labor union for all graduate assistants on campus. And next slide me, if you would. Wait, yeah, I can just actually look at this thing. There we go. So we represent the approximately 700 graduate assistants on campus. We're a member-driven organization, which means that it's not like a mandate comes from the union, but more so that our mandate is from all of our members, and what we do is always in accordance with what our members want. We're affiliated with 1596, and that affiliation often comes in support. For example, my position comes from the local. There are help that we get during bargaining that comes from the local, and that there are some other benefits as well, though they're a little bit less important than the work that we do on campus. But we're run entirely by either current or former graduate students here. Again, I'm an alumni, but our entire organizing committee are all current grad students. We started in 2001. I think our first membership vote was something like 93%, wildly popular, and we're more or less the ones who are fighting for financial gains for everybody, to make sure that the health insurance is actually covered by a great amount, to make sure that wages do go up, to make sure that the tuition waivers are applied. We're the people who fight on your behalf to ensure that what you get for your positions is what you should be getting, or at least closer to what you should be getting. Slide, please. Thank you. This is a lot of what we do is bargaining. Last round, we got a 4% wage increase. We got a huge health insurance benefit. 50% might not be exactly right, but it went from $1,800 for a 1.0 to the $2,500 that you saw earlier on in the presentation. We administer the Scholarly Support Fund, which we also get from the university by way of the contract, which is a fund that any GA can apply to, and effectively is there to help you with academic expenses, usually related to presenting research, but sometimes to other things. We also run grievances, which is quite a lot of what we end up doing. Well, blessedly less than it could be, but no, we lost the slides. Oh well. Less than it could be, but still often what we end up doing, where if you're having a problem with a supervisor, if you're having any kind of issue, you can come to us and we'll help you. If there are just questions that you're trying to ask because, thank you, questions you're trying to ask because you don't know if something is something you should be worried about, or there are also little things. Your pay is late, you don't know what's happened, you don't know who to talk to. We do know who to talk to. Somebody told you that you need to do X to get a position. You can ask us and we'll tell you if that is the case. Often folks can have the wrong idea about what is or isn't required to, give out benefits. Slide me if you would. Or can I get the next slide, or do you have to do that? I think you have to. Thank you. We also, beyond the professional end of things, although that is a lot of what we do, but we try to kind of help foster community. I think the line comes up later, but as I'm sure we all kind of already know, whether it's our first one at grad school or a second one if you're coming back to get your PhD, or even just these first couple weeks of January, grad school is really hard. And often it can be very lonely. And we've come to the point where we know that sometimes what you just need to do is be around people who are in the same sort of boat, who are there to do the same sort of work, and be able to relax. And it's one of the reasons that we work with the Graduate Student Assembly, who you saw earlier. That was Meg Delaney and Pancho. There we go. Aha. Oh, 1 second. We also do activism on campus in order to try and make sure that the university, is for its students and for its workers. If you would like to get involved, we would love to have you be involved with us. You can get on our mailing list sooner rather than later by emailing us at geo@umb.edu. If you do that, we can add you to our membership list, which is to our email list rather, which is how you can get news about things like the Scholarly Support Fund, about upcoming actions and the like. You can become a program representative, which is a volunteer position where effectively you make sure to spread word of things that are happening. And we encourage everybody to make sure to sign and submit your membership card and FERPA waivers. You would have gotten them in the pre-employment email that went out that said, mandatory pre-employment paperwork. Around the middle of that email, you would see something that says GO union forms, something to that effect. If you fill those out and send them to us at GO@UMB, it means being a dues-paying member of the union, which is how we function and how we're able to keep a lot of this centralized matter. Next slide. If you want to contact us, our website's also blessedly very easy. It's simply geoumb.org. Again, our email is geo@umb.edu, and it is very regularly monitored. It pings my phone whenever we get an email. We do have an office on campus. It's the second floor of Quinn, room 81A. Essentially, if you step out of the elevator on the second floor and take 2 rights, you'll find us at the end of the hall. Make sure to set up an appointment, though, if you do want to meet us in person. We're always happy to, but often we are only by appointment for office hours. Our president's Kathy Mellish, who at some point you'll probably meet, and I'm our local staff, Warren Hinkle. Next slide, thank you. And yeah, join us. It's, even recently during the bargaining that we had leading up to this semester, the bargaining round that we completed back in fall, that ended up being successful in part because we had 40-50 members who were incredibly active and incredibly loud and helping to advocate for themselves while we were also bargaining. And the result of that is that we got a pretty heavy bonus to the health insurance. We got a huge increase in wages. It's it matters not just for us who are here, but also for the folks who come after us. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Somebody's asking about the health insurance money deduction. That would be the GO payroll deduction. And I think that's handled through Wiser. Oh, that happens later in the semester. Oh, yes. I think it's mid-February, Simon, for spring semester is when it kicks in.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
And usually as well, the waiver or the reimbursement for health insurance comes about a month after the bill. You can just pay what you know you're going to owe, and you will not end up with a fee or a fine. If you are curious about that, you can get in touch with us or with OGS, people who we very regularly work with, and we can always help give more details and try to break things down point by point. But if there are any other questions, I'm here to answer them. If there are more questions that you come up with later or questions you don't want to ask, in a room full of 60-odd people, you can email us at GEO. And again, it pings my phone. And even though I should not be looking at the email at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, sometimes I can't help myself. But yeah, I can't wait to kind of meet all of you, socialize with all of you, and work with all of you over the course of the semester and the summer. UMass can be a pretty great place, and we like to think that we're part of the good part of the experience. But with that, I'll bring my end to the close, because otherwise I'll just keep talking for another 8 minutes, and we don't need that.
And same. So I will shut us all down before so we can all go to bed. Thank you guys all so much. So first of all, thank you, Warren. The GEO is a huge advocate on campus for graduate students generally and graduate employees. So thank you for the work that you guys do. With that, we're done. Again, the introductory overwhelm of information. But as you guys get settled, again, hopefully you kind of piece together registrar here, maybe graduate studies here, but email any one of us. Most of what we do all day is kind of make sure that you're getting where you need to go to get what you need. So email me if you have any questions. Again, one more email, justin.maher@umb.edu. I'll put it in the chat. But thank you guys so much for joining and welcome. We're so glad to have you here, and I know it's just going to be a great experience. So have a great evening and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a
Thank
question
you.
about registration. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. So whenever I try to register
Thank
for
you.
a class,
Thank you.
it says I need the instructor's permission. Should I just email the
I
What's the
would, what
process for
program are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
physics? Applied physics.
I would email Professor Chelly just to see, or even Mariah, just to see if it's something you do at the program level. And then if not, you can kind of email the instructor, but sometimes if it's just like a kind of core class or an elective, they can do it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to end the meeting, but thank you again all, and have a great evening and a great career here at UMass Boston.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.